So in yesterday's video I put up on the DHR1000, I went through and fixed the mechanism on that and got that part working. I thought maybe I would take a look and see how much work it's going to be to recap that board. So we're going to pull it apart again. I'm going to go through with the ESR meter and just see how bad the damage is. I'm back on the DHR1000. The last video we got the mechanism working. In this one I'm going to pull the mechanism out and pull out this board. And we're going to probe the video board below and see how many of the surface mounted caps are bad and start replacing them as necessary and see if I can get the actual analog video to work. So once again, we'll pop the front off. There's a couple of screws that hold it in place. One on the front here. 4 screws that hold the deck in place, and 3 ribbon and a power connector. So let me get the deck out and then we'll start checking other components on the video board. Next we'll remove this board. Of course, it's got a bunch of ribbon connectors on here and the tuner plug that needs to come out. Just undo the tuner plug at the back of the analog tuner here. Undo this ribbon connector here. Okay, and undo this ribbon connector over here. Get the tuner board out of the way. Alright, now I'm just going to start going through and testing these surface mounted caps and see which ones are bad. I'm sure there's a few. I don't think there's anything on the bottom side of this board. I think it's just a single-sided board. There might be stuff on the bottom, I'd have to look, but I think it might be a single-sided. Anyway, time to check and see where the bad ones are. That one looks to be bad. That one's open. Oh, that was 22. That's bad. That one's probably okay. $22. That's probably bad. $17. There's going to be a few of them in here that 27 ohms, that's going to be a bad one. That's a 10 microfarad. You know, that's measuring 27 ohms, and even if it was a 16 volt, you would expect it to be like better than 8. 27. 9.1, that one's probably okay. 73, I think that one's probably open. Oh, 1.1. Why did I get 73 the first time? See, not all of them are going to be bad, but a fair number will be. That one seems to be okay. That one's looking, that's getting up there, 12. That one's open. Looks to be, nope, 11, that's still getting up there. $19. That one looks like that could be open. There's a number of them here, so yeah, this is going to be a big job. I wonder if this board can lift out maybe from the bottom. It's got the connectors on the back here. Looks like it might come out held in place with screws on the bottom here. So it may be better to take the board out. I don't have all the values in stock, so what I'm going to do is I'll take inventory, see what I need, and then I'll get some and we'll start replacing them. I like to put surface mount in because there's not a lot of space to put through hole and tack down through hole, but I don't have any surface mounted, and unfortunately my suppliers that I deal with, they don't carry them either. Well, there looks to be about 96 on this board alone. There's more on the other boards as well. So this is going to be a really, really big job. I'm now starting to doubt whether I want to even do it. I'd like to get it running, but I think on a project of this size, I'm going to have to break down and get the surface mounted caps, make an order, and bring some in. Because I think that's really the only way to do it on one of these. I mean, they're so close together, just getting in there to try to solder stuff down is going to be a nightmare. Right? And even doing them with air, you got to worry about melting the connectors. It's going to be a real fun job. So maybe now that I've seen what I need to change on here, I'll take an inventory of what parts are needed and what the quantity is, and then I'll bring the parts in and we'll do it at a future date. Because as it sits now, you see I've got a fully functional deck for archiving use with the Firewire output on it. That all works. So I'm at the dilemma is this is the Firewire that plugs in here to this board on the top. I'm at the dilemma as to, do I really want to spend several hours recapping the board just so that I can look at the output on a monitor, which I'm never gonna capture from analog, right? These are digital tapes. You transfer them over on Firewire. So there's no real reason that I need to have the analog working, other than it would be kind of nice to make it work. But it's not a requirement to use the machine for what I purchased it for, and that is for playing back DV tapes and dumping them right onto the computer or right to DVD using the Firewire cable. So that's kind of where I sit. That's why I'm just doing this little update. I'm going to take inventory of what parts I'm going to need on this, and then once I get them, and it might not be right now. This might be for the winter, for that matter. It might be a year from now before I get around to it. But I'm going to take an inventory of all the different values that I need and get the actual surface mounted caps in, and then we'll proceed. The transport itself, these are caps in the servo, but there's more on this board here in the preamp circuits and stuff. There's a bunch more on here that are also, well, there's a few more on here, but they're also likely going to be in the same boat. But it's nice that this machine comes apart as easy as it does. Because as you can see, it just pops apart real easy to get at. And the front goes on. Just like that. So this time I'm using my oldest digital 8 camera. This is the DCR VX or DCR TRV 110. I'm using that as the Firewire to NTSC. This one actually looks better than the one I was using last night. I was using the TRV 240, was it 245? I guess that's what I was using last night. But this one actually looks better. Got the sound turned down on here, I think. But it does look good. As you can hear, the sound on this one's much louder. When I did the other recording, I didn't have the gain set up on the microphone. I had it turned down pretty low, but one thing that's interesting is that this TV is stretching it out to 16 by 9. I saw a little interference there. I don't know. See that? I don't know if that was on the tape. I'm looking at the small monitor here on the camera, and I don't see that showing up. That might be an artifact that the TV is just throwing at it. We'll see if that shows up in freeze. I think that artifact we were seeing is the TV, because I didn't see it. Like, I'm looking at the small monitor here, and I didn't see it show up on here when it showed up on the plasma. I can see some grain in the picture, but that's again because the gain on the camera was up quite high. It's not that bright, and the VX1000 wasn't that sensitive, the camera. So this particular aquarium that shot was actually quite dark. I'm actually quite surprised this tape has held up as long as it has, because this was recorded a long time ago. I don't know if I've got a date on here or not. It probably does. I probably have to look it up on the... In fact, it would be the date code would be on there. I'd have to recall it on the screen. But this would have been, I don't know, 96 maybe? 97? Whenever the VX1000 came out, I had one. For one of the first ones that arrived here in Canada. So whatever year that was, at 96, 97 is when I had mine. I had to change the flexible ribbon cable that went to the viewfinder 2 or 3 times. That was always what went wrong on those. They always broke because you get a bit of grit in them, and you're flipping the viewfinder up and down. It had a color viewfinder. Did not have a flip out screen. Just had a color viewfinder. And you were flipping that thing up and down all the time. I must have changed it 3 or 4 times when I had the camera, and then I sold it. And wouldn't you know, I sold the thing to a fella, and within 3 or 4 months he came back and said that the viewfinder didn't work. So I told him that the ribbon cable was severed and needed to be changed, and it was going to be like $150 to change it, and he was all mad. I said, well, that's what happens on them. They were a bad design. You know, we used to buy the things and break the ribbon. The flexible ribbon cable was like $60 or $70 for the part. It wasn't cheap. It was bloody expensive from Sony, and of course you had to buy it from Sony because it was a special part. But yeah, this is playing great. I actually see that on the blue screen as well. See, that is something going on with the monitor. That did not show up on the camera screen when that flicked up like that. That's something going on with this TV. I wonder if the tuner input works on this thing. Let me hook up a cable. We'll see if the tuner will... I don't know if it'll pass a signal out the firewire. I don't think it does. If I press record, no digital output. But when I play the tape back, I will get it. Because I think the analog is with the tuners working and everything on here. So I'm making a recording right now, but we're not seeing anything coming out through the firewire. If I stop it and play it back, That's what was on the tape. And that's what I just recorded. So it records no problem. It records from the tuner and it records from an analog input. It just doesn't play back through the analog outputs. And it does play back through the FireWire, but it doesn't play back, well, it doesn't display through the FireWire while you're recording. It doesn't E to E through the FireWire. I don't know whether that's something that can be set up in the menu or not. I doubt that it can. I think it will record through the FireWire and play through the FireWire, but when you're dealing with analog signals, it'll only output it once it's been recorded. Anyway, it's working. We'll see how much I chewed up that tape when I was trying to get it to work yesterday. I don't know if I damaged this tape. I don't think I damaged this tape. Pretty sure the tape's okay. I should just make a recording on here of stuff that I can use for testing. Maybe I'll do that. I'm just going to make a recording on this tape, fill the whole tape up, because it was, again, a tape that was transferred, and the fellow that gave me the tape, he said, yeah, you can toss them. So I figured I would just wipe all the tapes and just use them for testing purposes, and this being a short one, only a 30-minute tape, I'll just record on this one. But as you can see, the wrap looks to be even greater than, well, I guess it is 180 degrees. It looked a little greater, but I guess it's not. It's at an angle. It's going over here. It's coming off across on the other side here. But look at this. There's a tape. Is that a cleaner? It's like a little arm that's touching up against the tape. What the heck is that thing? Is that a tape cleaner? Or is it a tape stabilizer? But there's a little, whoops, there's a little arm there that just rides against the tape. What the hell does it do? Unless it's a type of a tape stabilizer of some type. But it just touches the surface. Unless it's cleaning, maybe it's cleaning the tape, not getting any dust off before it gets around to the heads. As you guys probably noticed, I did grease the mechanism. I don't know if I showed that or not. I don't think I showed it when I serviced it, but I did grease the mechanism, top and bottom. That head drum's pretty small. This is a 1/4 inch tape. Is what this is. In fact, before the DV standard was, before they had a DV standard, they were going to call it initially 1/4 cam. Was one of the names that was being tossed out. What's with this cap down here? Is that cap starting to leak? Oh, I guess not. That's just the paint. I was looking at that on the camera thinking, what the hell is that? That's just paint on the circuit board. I'm going to let a splice go through here. This is a tape that got damaged. We'll watch the splice go, and I'll show you what happens on the screen. There goes the splice. I'll rewind it back and I'll show you guys the screen. Okay, play. And here comes the splice right now. That was it. That's what happens on a digital tape if you've got a break and you have to splice it. It just goes by just like that if you do it right. Anyway, this machine's working. We'll do a full, as I've said before, we'll do a full recap of this thing once I get around to getting some, but I think until then I'm just going to use it as it is, because for what I need it for, it's going to do the job just fine. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.